What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Showcase Sports Show. I am your co-host, Griffin Conant, alongside always my partner in crime, Elijah Cornejo. How we doing, E?
I'm doing all right, Griff. Ready to get back to sports. You know, playoffs are starting this week for the NBA. NHL's been in full swing. Things have been great. I've been loving life.
Well, it is something to behold, E. Let me tell you, we will get into that action later in a sec. For this week's episode, we have a new segment called Blast from the Past. E, do you want to kind of tell us how this game works?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a little game between me and Griff here. We're both going to pick a player from the past. It could be any of the leagues that you just kind of is a strange name that you hear and you're like, wow, that's a blast from the past.
Almost a player you forgot about almost.
Exactly,
yes.
Okay. So
but they were once at the top of their
game. It could be someone like Jeremy Lin. It could be anybody.
Jeremy Lin.
Shout out Jeremy Lin. We love Jeremy. Anyway,
what I would do to live Linsanity all over again.
I would.
That was a special time in my life.
What a rush. All right, back to Blast from the Past here. So, for example, I will come up with a player, right? And then Griffin will have 10 questions to guess that player.
Right.
So, let's go ahead and kick it off here.
Hey.
Okay, I have our first player, and you get one clue. He played in the NFL.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, was he ever a Pro Bowler?
No. He was on the cusp maybe once or twice, but no, he was not a Pro Bowler.
So he was, what you're telling me right now, he was good but not that good.
Yeah, he was decent to good.
Okay.
He was loved by the team that he played for.
Okay. He's one of those guys. All right. That makes sense. All right. Question number 2. Where did he go to college?
University of Michigan. He was a Wolverine.
Okay. Question 3. What position did he play?
Wide receiver.
Oh, all right. That really narrowed it down for me. Thanks for that. Question 4. What team did he play for?
He played for one team his entire career, and it would be the New York Giants.
Okay. The New York Football Giants. Okay. Receiver, New York Football Giants, went to the University of Michigan.
Don't guess. Okay, yep.
Okay.
I don't want you to guess who I think you're going to guess.
Okay. So now we're on question number 5. Okay, question number 5. When did he play?
He was drafted in 1996 in the second round.
So he's an old man.
And he retired in 2008.
Okay.
Right after winning a Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Or was that 2007? What year did they beat the Pats?
That was, I think, 07.
It was 07.
But I think the Super Bowl took place in 2008. But it's technically the 2007 football season.
Okay, you're right. So 08, the year after his Super Bowl, his one Super Bowl win.
Okay. So he was on one of those Eli Manning Super Bowl teams, the first one.
He was.
Okay. And he was kind of old at this point.
Yes, he was
near the end of the twilight of his career, as you would say.
He was 33 in 2007.
Okay.
So
I'd say that's on the older side in the NFL.
Sure.
Okay.
But you could definitely produce.
Okay. Question number 6.
So wait, before you ask question number 6.
Okay.
There's 3 wide receivers here you could pick from that are decently notable in New York Giant history.
On this 2007 Giants team?
Yeah, 2007, 2008. Yep.
Okay.
There's 3 guys there.
Okay, question number 6. Was he the guy that made the helmet catch?
Nope. No, he was not David Tyree.
Okay.
That was one of the 3.
So we can eliminate David Tyree.
Sorry. No more David Tyree.
Okay. Question number 7. Did he ever, at his point in his career, or outside the playing field, shoot himself?
No, it is not Plaxico
handgun. Okay.
He was not dancing on a girl at a strip club and gun slid down his pants and he shot himself. No, he was not Plaxico.
Rumor has it him, Gilbert Arenas, and Aqib Talib all like to hang out.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Gilbert Arenas. That would have
been a good player.
I know.
Shoot,
I shouldn't have said that. I should have used that for next week's segment. Okay, question number 8. Actually, E, I'm gonna give this a little poke here.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. Receiver, University of Michigan. Was on the 2007 New York Giants team with Eli Manning that ended up beating the undefeated New England Patriots. Just want to get my facts straight here.
Absolutely, yes,
and it's not Plexico Burress or David Tyree.
Nope.
Okay.
There's only one other
then
notable
it's gotta
receiver.
be, here's my guess, it's gotta be Amani Toomer. Bingo! Yeah. Oh, yeah. There it is. Amani Toomer. Wow.
Yep.
Blast from the past.
You know, I was scrolling through this Instagram page. I believe it's called Throwback of the Day or Sports Throwback, something like that. Anyway, they were showing Amani Toomer highlights, and I was like, wow.
That's the
remember
coolest
this
thing.
dude?
I wouldn't leave bed.
Dude,
if I
I
saw that.
loved
That's
Amani
the coolest
Toomer
thing
when
I've
he
ever
played.
heard.
Yeah, weirdly
Yeah.
very productive over there.
He had a
in New
good
York.
NFL career, actually.
He
Yeah, he
did.
did. I mean,
Yeah.
he played his whole playing career with the Giants.
12 years right
Wow.
there. Yeah.
Well, that's a good one.
Okay, so Griff, you got that correct in 8 questions.
Okay.
So how this is going to work, we're going to do this every week now.
Okay.
It's going to turn into like a win-loss record between me and you. Okay? So every podcast, we're going to do 2 players, 1 each.
Sounds swell.
So I now have to guess your player in 7 or less questions. If I do that, I win the week, and I'll be 1-0, and you'll be 0-1. If I get
fair.
8, we tie, and it's 0-0-1, which
Okay.
would suck because this is not soccer.
All right. 8 questions
Okay.
it is.
Or if I get 9 or 10, obviously I lose. All right? So, Griff, go ahead, kick us off. Who is your player? Well, don't. Okay, well, you can tell us.
I'm not going down that easy. But my player was a former NFL player.
Question 1, what position?
Running back.
Question 2,
Okay.
what were the years he played?
Great question. I'm glad you asked it. So he played. So I'll give you a little detail here. So he was drafted in the 2000 NFL draft. He was the 11th pick in that draft. He played from 2000 to 2007.
Okay. How many teams did he play for? Question 3.
He played for 3 separate teams during his 7-year career.
3 separate teams in 7 years. Not great. Not
Yes.
a great look.
Yes.
Okay. What team did he play for? Give me his most recognizable team.
Okay. He played for the New York Giants, the longest, of course, from 2000 to 2004.
Oh, shoot. That was question 4. On to question 5 now.
Okay.
Griff, for the Giants, what number did he wear?
So for the Giants, I believe he rocked number 27. But he also wore number 33 and number 36 throughout his playing career. So this guy was a man of many numbers.
Okay. Question 6.
Okay.
Who were the other 2 teams he played for?
Okay, so he played for the Denver Broncos in 2005 and the Houston Texans from 06 to 07.
So, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ask this, Griff.
Okay.
What numbers was he on the Texans and the Broncos?
So I believe on the Broncos he was number 33. I think on the Texans he was number 36.
Oh my God. I know who it is.
Do ya?
I know
Do
who
you
it
know?
is. I want to mail in my answer for the week 1 win.
Okay, who is it?
Ruben Drones.
That is wrong! What? Incorrect.
Oh, he was 34, wasn't he?
Yes, I believe so. But honestly, a great guess because Ruben Drones played
my
on that
gosh.
Broncos team
Dude, I
in the
blew
mid
it.
2000s.
I blew it. Ruben Drones went to Cleveland.
No, yeah, Ruben Drones was. But I think he played for the Broncos a year or 2 in there.
Ruben
Good
Drones
guess.
went to Cleveland, right, after the Broncos?
Yes, I think so. I believe he did. Dang. All right, E. So here's the deal. That last question could have won you the game, but it was incorrect. So now the best you can do is tie with this guess, but you have to guess correctly. And I'm feeling very nice today. I'm in a good mood. So I'm going to give you a hint here.
Okay, let's hear it.
This specific player is the all-time leader in rushing yards in NCAA Division I FBS history with 7,125 yards.
Okay, my final question, question 8.
Okay.
Knowing that stat, what school did he go to?
He played his college ball at the University of Wisconsin.
Boy, Griff, just when I thought I had it made with the Ruben Drones pick, I didn't.
You got so excited.
I did, and now I'm pretty upset because I don't know who you're talking about. So
Okay.
go ahead, reveal who is it.
Alrighty. Well, my player...
I'm gonna be so mad.
Shout out to the great people of Madison, Wisconsin. He won the 1999 Heisman Trophy Award. Running back Ron Dane.
Son of a gun! I
Yes.
knew it.
Ron
Oh my
Dane.
gosh, Ron.
Now
Dane.
Ron, good old Ron, he was a little bit. He had a better college career, I would say. He only amassed. Well, he did have 3,722 rushing yards.
7 years.
But yes, in 7 years. But he never ever rushed for 1,000 yards in the NFL.
yeah,
this
I mean,
season.
well, if you're, what'd you say, 3,300 yards?
Yes,
That's
but,
less than 500 a year.
But think about this. This guy has 71 career total college touchdowns. He had 21 his freshman year, 15 in 97, another 15 in 98, and then 20 in 99. He had 2 seasons of 2,000 plus rushing yards in college.
I'll tell you what, those Wisconsin running backs, they eat, man.
They
get their fair share of carries.
I wonder what Ron Dane is doing nowadays, but not to call him a bust, but I think he probably had higher expectations.
He is flat out a bust.
Yes. All right, let's talk some basketball here. The NBA bubble games officially have wrapped up. We are now in the first round of the playoffs. And how about this, E? There are many sports books around the nation right now that don't have a clear-cut NBA champion. Some sports books have the Bucks right now, some have the Lakers, but this is the first time that this has happened since 2015 with Golden State. What do you think about that?
I think they're right. I think everyone is kind of doesn't really know right now. I think it's all kind of up in the air. I mean, I think there's a lot of serious contenders. You know, you got the Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, Raptors, Nuggets, Rockets. There's a lot of contenders in there. I still think the main front runner right now is the Lakers.
Right, and I think the Lakers have been struggling in the bubble too, and I think that's a big reason why that these odds are the way they are right now. I mean, I think that we're just witnessing something that's never been done before. It's neutral court for each series, and it's a toss-up for a lot of these series. I think that home court advantage thing is going to be big, not having that. On that note, let's jump right into it. How about this? Let's name one X-Factor kind of player for each playoff series, both Western Conference and Eastern Conference, that can make the biggest impact for their team. Elijah, start us off here. Who do you have between the Lakers, Blazers? Who's kind of that one guy to look out for?
The one guy here, he's one of my favorite players of all time, Carmelo Anthony. I think he's already kind of shown up in the play-in game, hitting that big-time shot. He's just so clutch. And obviously, I think the easy answer here would be, Dame or McCollum or LeBron or AD. But I kind of wanted to just go a little bit off the map here with Melo because I think in crunch time, he's going to be a whole nother threat that the Blazers haven't had in the last few years in the playoffs. Because usually their go-to guy is Dame, and I think it still will be. But now that Melo's there, he's definitely an option to hit those clutch shots like he did in the play-in game.
I think he definitely provides that veteran leadership for the Trailblazers, of course. Melo's kind of been there in those playoffs. Hasn't necessarily advanced very far in the playoff series that he's been in. But how about this? A little Melo-LeBron matchup.
Gotta love it.
Hopefully they'll be guarding each other a lot in this series, but it's like 2005 all over again. They never got
words literally out of my mouth.
I mean, they never got to face each other in the finals or anything, so this is going to be the first time we see LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony match up in the playoffs in their careers. I think that's kind of exciting.
Gotta love it. Who's your X Factor for that series?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, E. My X Factor is definitely not pretty boy pansy Zach Collins. I am not going to lie. He's actually not playing Monday or Tuesday, I think it is, game one. He is inactive. I've never been a fan of this guy.
Hold on. Time out. Let's hear your beef on the great value G-Eazy. Okay? What is your beef with this guy?
He's trying to be Troy Bolton out here, okay? It looks like this guy could star in a High School Musical film and not be a part of a playoff-winning Trailblazers squad.
Okay, so
and maybe it is. I have a little beef from him last year, just being a Nuggets fan. He really grinded my gears in that semifinals.
Now that you say that, I do recall watching the games with you and you saying multiple expletives at Zach Collins. Very questionable statements, off-the-rail statements.
Zach Collins, not a fan. But I tell you who I am a fan of. It's got to be Yusuf Nurkic for me.
God.
Center for the Trailblazers. I think he is going to be an X factor for this Trailblazers team against the Lakers. I think the Trailblazers actually match up pretty well guard-wise against the Lakers with Dame, McCollum against whoever the heck the Lakers have running over
Avery
there.
Bradley. J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith.
Don't you be bagging on my boy J.R.
Alex Caruso. Those kind of guys.
I also like Caruso.
They're good players, but they're no Dame Lillards or C.J. McCollums, of course. I
totally agree.
But I think Nurkic is going to have to play a huge role against the bigs of the LA Lakers. Of course, he's going to be going up against Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Anthony
him and
Davis.
Whiteside, and that's huge.
Whiteside, too. He's going to have to play a big role if the Blazers want any shot of winning this series.
Absolutely. Okay, going back to one thing.
Okay.
So let me get this straight. You can't stand, as you called him, pretty boy pansy, Zach Collins.
Yeah.
But yet you
can't
said,
even look at him.
Because you're
gagging.
A Nuggets fan.
I'm gagging that you're even bringing up his name.
So you're saying that as a Nuggets fan.
I'm sure he's a swell guy.
You say you're a fan of Nurkic, which the guy who touted his way out of Denver? That guy is a crybaby whiner.
I never said that. I just said that I think since, pretty boy Pansy Collins over there is going to be out game 1, I just think Nurkic is just going to have to step up. I don't necessarily like him or not. I'm kind of neutral about Nurkic, but I think he's a good player. He'll give you 20 points on a good day, and I think that's going to be very important for the Blazers.
That's fair. Well, let's move on to the Clippers and the Mavs. Griff, X Factor.
Well, my X Factor's got to be Dorian Finney-Smith for the Mavs.
Interesting.
I think Smith, he's got to be the Mavs' third best player here. He's obviously their best defender. He's going to be going up against Kawhi Leonard, which is obviously a tough matchup. So if Finney-Smith can kind of keep Leonard in check maybe a little bit, I think the Mavs can maybe even make this a series. I know Finney-Smith, he's probably going to have to guard Paul George out there a lot as well. So Dorian Finney-Smith is my X factor. I think he's very important to the Dallas Mavericks in this series.
You know me, I'm a big Finney-Smith guy.
Yep.
Okay, go Gators.
Of course.
Absolutely. Yep. We love the Gators around here. My X factor is going to be Kristaps Porzingis.
Okay.
I think he is going to be huge. He's got to really step up and be a big-time scorer and rebounder for the Mavs. They just need him to be who he really is.
I agree.
So if he can complement Luka the way that he should, then, oh my gosh, that Mavs team is very scary. I honestly wouldn't be shocked here if they pulled off the upset of the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, they have, I think, the highest offensive proficiency in the NBA.
Yeah,
the
they're
Dallas
nasty,
Mavericks.
Man.
So, hey, if that offense is clicking on all cylinders, then look out. I mean, the Clippers could be in some trouble in the first round.
Absolutely.
Well, E, how about a little 4-5 matchup between the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder? Very intriguing series. What kind of stands out to you?
Intriguing is the word for it. I think that this game could go to 6, maybe 7, especially with Russell Westbrook being out. I feel like that's kind of a cop-out answer to say Russ is my X factor because of his injury. So I'm going to go with Steven Adams.
Okay.
I think if he can dominate the small ball Houston Rockets, I think that's the key to success for the Thunder. That's the way that they're going to win and move on to the next round, is if he can dominate in that low post and be able to clean the boards and play very good defense in the paint. I think that's going to be the recipe for success.
Okay. I have a kind of a wild card here for you for my X Factor. It's Jeff Green. You remember Jeff Green?
Wow.
Now on the Houston Rockets. I'm going to go with Jeff Green here just because he, like I said, kind of the Carmelo Anthony effect. He brings that veteran leadership to the Rockets, who have kind of struggled to get over that hump in recent years. I think Jeff Green he's got some good years, I think, in him still. He's still got some gas in the tank. So I think Jeff Green's a good shooter. I think he can be that role player for the Rockets that they need, especially with Westbrook being out. And obviously they have kind of an undersized lineup. So I think Jeff Green actually brings some size as well.
He does. Wow, interesting. That's a pretty good pick. I also like Robert Covington down there.
Yes.
I think he could also be a player to watch for. What do you think about their small ball lineup down there? Do you think it's smart? Do you think it's dumb? Do you think they're going to get waxed when they play, the Lakers or the Clippers?
Yeah, I think I kind of talked about this a couple episodes ago, but I'm actually very fond of the Houston Rockets coming into this playoff experience in Orlando. But I think the Rockets, they just score so much. They just put up the 3-ball like nobody's business. The Rockets are going to struggle, of course, with their interior play, just being able to guard guys like Steven Adams, even like guys like Andre Robertson, who's coming back for the Thunder after that devastating injury. So I think the Rockets are going to struggle in that asset, but I mean, the 3-ball is going to keep you in every game they play, and if James Harden is knocking down threes like he can, I think the Rockets are a dangerous team. They got Eric Gordon, all those kind of guys that hit threes.
Last but definitely not least, in the West, we have the Nuggets and the Jazz. Griff, who's your X factor?
Yeah, it's got to be Jamal Murray for me here, E. I think it is time for Jamal Murray to be that guy that the Nuggets need him to be. I think they need him to be that scorer, that distributor that the Nuggets need. It just can't all be Jokic. It's got to be Murray's got to be that scorer, kind of just like MPJ. MPJ is kind of have to help this Nuggets team if they want to go far.
I agree.
Points wise, so I think it's got to be Jamal Murray. He's been inconsistent at times in his career.
He's got to take that step.
Right, but obviously he has that potential to be a guy who honestly averages 25 to 30 points a game.
Absolutely, he's that sharp shooter you really need to step up in this series. I totally agree with you, and I see what you're saying. I, however, have a different X Factor pick.
Okay.
I actually have Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
I think this could be the first real vision of what he's going to be as an NBA player. Obviously he's absolutely balled out in this bubble. Granted, it was competition, but it wasn't playoff competition. It wasn't crunch time in the regular season.
Right.
I mean, the Nuggets really weren't playing any starters there for
Right.
the last 2 or 3 games. They lost those games because of that. So I think seeing him against real playoff scrappy competition is going to be very, very important. I think he's going to end up needing to fill the role of Will Barton and Gary Harris right now,
Absolutely.
considering the Nuggets are playing without them, in order for the Nuggets to move on, because I really think the Jazz are a sticky matchup for them.
Yeah.
I think Gobert matches up really well against the Nuggets, and he cleans the boards as he always does, and he is just a really great defender. I mean, he's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year every year.
For sure.
So I think the Nuggets are really going to have to lean on MPJ with Murray and Jokic to be really that third head of the serpent.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Michael Porter Jr., it's just a different MPJ right now in Orlando than maybe during the regular season. Maybe more confident Michael Porter Jr.
Well, and I think
more
Malone's
aggressive.
right, and I think Malone is finally unleashing him a little bit.
Right.
I think he was really holding back on him, just like he held back on Murray his rookie year
Right.
and his second year. He really didn't play him a whole lot, didn't give him the minutes that he needed. I think now we're starting to see that with MPJ. He's starting to blossom.
I think a lot of it has been justified real quickly here, too. Just maybe not playing MPJ as much. I know he's at times been a liability on defense. But his offensive prowess, I'll tell you what, it is just unmatched, I think, and it's really going to help out the Nuggets. Let's head over to the Eastern Conference. Magic Bucks here in this first matchup. Who do you got, E?
Simple, Giannis. That's it. That's my answer.
I'm going to go with Chris Middleton. Giannis is going to be kind of one of those guys that the Magic are going to try to stop, so it's going to be up to, I think, the Bucks and maybe Chris Middleton, even dudes like Robin Lopez to kind of step up in crunch time.
I agree. Do you think it's going to be a sweep?
I think the Magic take one game just because it's a neutral court, but I have the Bucks in 5. Yes.
So heading over to the 2 seed with the Raptors and the Nets. Griff, who do you have?
Well, I got to go with Pascal Siakam here for the Raptors. Of course, the departure from Kawhi Leonard hurt the Raptors in a way, but they haven't really missed a beat here in this bubble and just throughout the regular season. I think Siakam is a young superstar for the Raptors. I think he's going to dispose easily of the Nets.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like Van Fleet in this series. I think he's going to ball out. He's been balling out recently, as usual.
Very underrated point
right.
guard, I think.
I agree. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I love Fred. So, yeah, I think he's going to be the X factor over there. Yeah, let's move on to Philadelphia and Boston. Griff.
Okay. I'm going to go with the obvious pick here. It's Joel Embiid. He's just one of those guys with the absence of Ben Simmons that has to step up for the Philadelphia 76ers. Of course, they're already thin at the point guard, like I said, with Simmons. So Embiid's really going to have to dominate the paint and eat up a lot of those boards and score down there.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying with Embiid. I feel like that definitely is the obvious pick, especially with his health right now. We're not totally sure if that ankle is fully healthy. My pick here is going to be Matisse Thybulle. Coming in, he's going to be replacing Ben Simmons. He actually played today, which is Monday, against the Celtics, and he put in 33 minutes and only had 5 points. I think he's going to have to definitely produce more, for the Sixers to have any shot over there facing the Celtics.
Right. And lastly, here in the Eastern Conference, we got the 4-5 matchup between the Indiana Pacers and the Miami Heat. Who do you have there as the X factor?
I like Miles Turner here. I think he's going to be very important going up against Bam down in the paint. If he can help, control Bam, I think that the Pacers have a real shot here at beating the Heat. As you know, I do like the Heat a lot in this Eastern Conference. I think they are actually legitimate contenders. But I think, the Pacers are a real threat to them, especially if Turner is able to shut Bam down and control the paint.
Yeah, how about this? Instead of an X factor, I've got a matchup for you. It's got to be TJ Warren versus Jimmy Butler. Of course, these guys have been getting into it the last couple times they've faced off against each other. Apparently, Jimmy Butler has said that there's no more beef between the two, that the rivalry is over. But
I don't buy it.
How about, I don't either. We'll see once the playoffs get started here. But how about TJ Warren? This guy's just been electric as of late. Definitely a guy that the Pacers are excited for. Of course, they've got pieces like Victor Oladipo, stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting series, I think. Maybe a little more even than most people think.
Absolutely. What's your prediction for that series?
I think I have the Heat in 7. This thing's going 7 games.
Yep, I think I actually agree with you. I think it's going to be Heat in 6, though. Let's move to the ice. The NHL. What a week of hockey we've had so far to start off the playoffs, huh, Griff?
Well, How about the first game of the first round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs going into 5 OTs? Yes.
Unbelievable.
This did happen about a week ago, but yes, you are hearing this correctly. 5 OTs between the Blue Jackets and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
That was one of the wildest sports games I've ever watched.
Yeah,
I mean, it was definitely the craziest hockey game
Right.
I've ever seen, but my goodness.
And of course, it came down to a Braden Point goal, 10 minutes and 27 seconds to go in the 5th OT. Can we talk about Jonas Korpisalo here, the goaltender for the Columbus Blue Jackets? How about 85 saves in this one? I think that's an NHL record for most saves all time.
Unbelievable. What a game that guy had, man. He was just unreal. Both goalies were unreal in OT especially. I mean, they went 5 overtimes.
Right.
Those are full periods.
That really set the tone for the rest of the series now that the Lightning are up 3-1. I think it was just a huge game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think it honestly could propel them to maybe a couple more series wins in the future rounds here in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I know I actually, in our last episode, picked them to get upset in this round. I really thought that they were going to lose, but they proved me wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a deep run, especially with how Korpisalo is playing. Now that they're starting to get fully healthy again. Around the ice, we have some really close series, like the Flames and the Stars. But we have some other series like the Caps. The Washington Capitals are down 3-0 right now.
Yeah,
and they're
how
on the
about
brink
that?
of elimination
How
to
about
the Islanders. Yeah.
Right. Islanders kind of that surprise team coming into the playoffs. I actually had them winning this series, so far so good. I think the Capitals really have their backs up against the wall right now, down 3-0. And it's going to be tough for these Capitals. I know Semyon Varlamov has been playing an excellent goalie right now. So whenever you have a good goaltender like that, I think it's going to be just tough for the Capitals to win.
Moving on to St. Louis, the Blues, the defending champions, down 2-1 right now.
The surprising Canucks.
You think the Canucks are going to pull it off?
It's going to be tough. I think it'd be different if they were up 3-1, but it's just 2-1. And I think the Blues have that Stanley Cup experience to maybe make this a series.
I think the Canucks are going to win in 7.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
I think they're going to keep pushing. I like what they've seen, or what I've seen out of them. They've looked real solid defensively. They're doing pretty great shutting down the superstars over there for St. Louis.
Yeah.
Ryan O'Reilly and guys like that.
For sure. But did you also hear about what is brewing in Boston up in the Northeast? Tuukka Rask has decided to leave the team at the start of the playoffs, pretty much.
He played 2 games and dipped, man. That's brutal.
Pretty brutal. Of course, I don't really know what's going on over there. Maybe something serious is happening with Tuukka Rask and maybe his family or something. But pretty brutal for the Boston Bruins. Of course, Tuukka Rask, one of the more elite goaltenders in the NHL. Where does that kind of put the Boston Bruins going forward?
I think they take a major hit.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, he's one of the best goaltenders in all of hockey. Now they have Halak back there,
right,
and he had a pretty brutal first game. For our listeners out there, if you didn't see, he was fielding a puck behind the net, and he went out to get it for one of his skaters, and he launched it. Well, when he launched it, he didn't see Niederreiter right there. Niederreiter catches it, puts it down, and scores on the empty net, essentially.
A big no-no for all you goaltenders out there.
To quote Barry Melrose on the telecast, he said, "This is a goalie's worst nightmare," and he is 100% right.
Yep.
That was a pretty disastrous goal right there. But I think this really puts the Bruins in a rough place. Halak's really going to have to step up now and fill those shoes. He's got a .919 save percentage on the season. I mean, that's doable, but it's definitely not anywhere near Rask.
Right, and I think he's going to have to just come up big for the Bruins because they're in a tight series right now with the Hurricanes. Don't be sleeping on the Hurricanes. So I believe they're up 2-1 right now. So he's going to have to play well for the Bruins to advance.
Yeah, I think the Hurricanes are going to take it in 7.
Okay, I think the Bruins are going to win this series in 7. Yep,
Interesting.
I'll disagree with you again, E. Bruins in 7, and you got the Hurricanes in 7.
So now let's head back to the Diamond. Griff, we got some baseball drama.
Oh, gotta love it.
And guess
baseball
what?
Drama.
This time it's not involving the Astros or Rob Manfred.
Wow,
I
something
know.
fresh this week.
Something fresh.
Okay, good. I'm excited.
Over in Cleveland, okay, the Indians are going to Chicago. They're in Chicago at a team hotel.
Okay.
Zach Plesac, a pitcher, and pitcher Mike Clevenger both sneak out of the hotel and go into downtown Chicago and are going to bars and restaurants, things like that, okay?
Right.
They get caught trying to sneak back into the hotel later that night. They
Wow.
get caught,
Okay.
and all of a sudden, huge rifts. Okay, this is similar to what happened with the Utah Jazz and Rudy
Yes.
Gobert.
That's when Gobert was touching mics that he
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be touching.
Exactly, touching microphones,
Yes.
kind of making fun of the coronavirus, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, boom, he's the first NBA player to get it.
That was karma.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, caused a huge rift. Donovan Mitchell was mad. Everyone was really upset with him, okay? Similar things are going on right now in Cleveland. This right here is a clip from pitcher Adam Plutko about Clevenger and Plesac and how they can kind of fix their rift with the team.
They lied to us. They sat here in front of you guys and publicly said things that they didn't follow through on. And it's going to be up to them. It really is. And, I'll let them sit here and tell you how they're going to earn their trust back. I don't need to put words in their mouths. The term that I continue to hear, and excuse my language, is grown-ass man, right? So those grown-ass men can sit here and tell you guys what happened and tell you guys what they're going to do to fix it. And I don't need to do that for them.
Once again, that was Adam Plutko talking about the Indians drama going on right now. That was via ESPN. Another quote that came out was from Oliver Perez. He is really, really upset. He came out and said that if they rejoin the team, he's going to opt out, and he's done. So, I don't know. A lot of these players are starting to give Indians management, an ultimatum. Either them or,
Right. Well, obviously there's a rift here, no doubt. Clevenger and Plesac, of course, definitely did not do the right thing here, especially in a time like this when what we're going through with this pandemic.
It's just irresponsible.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Lou Williams thing that we were talking about
100% like
a couple
that,
weeks ago. These players, and this doesn't just go for the MLB, but all the leagues. These players have to do a better job of understanding kind of the situation they're in. Yes, the MLB doesn't have a bubble, but it's still a pretty high infectious disease, and you can't just be going out to bars and stuff, especially at the team hotel during the night. Going behind the Cleveland Indians' back doing it,
Right.
That's a whole other issue too, I think.
Well, the worst part of it for me is that, okay, it's one thing to put yourself in harm's way. Now
Right.
you're putting your team and other teams in harm's way. That's not even the worst part.
Right.
Their teammate, Carlos Carrasco, had leukemia.
Yeah.
People that had cancer and other really bad diseases and things like that are much higher at risk than other people. So when you go out and you put yourself at risk to COVID-19 and then you bring it back in the locker room, what if Carrasco gets that and he, who knows what could happen with him?
Right. And
So that's just so irresponsible and not okay.
Right, and I'm sure Clevenger and Plesac didn't mean anything bad by what they did that night. They just got to be smarter. It's just not okay if you're the Cleveland Indians, and now you're putting the team at risk. You're putting the MLB season at risk. It's not just affecting the Indians; it's affecting other teams as well. It's baffling to me that some of these players aren't taking it very serious.
Well, and Mike Clevenger and Plesac actually may have really screwed themselves over.
Right.
Because there's probably a good chance that they don't come back up this year or they get traded. But now the Indians management actually has a ginormous advantage to leaving them off the team.
Right.
So with Clevenger, if they were to leave him off for the rest of the year, that would mean that he would have 3 years and 171 days of service in the MLB, okay, at Major League level. You actually have to have 3 years and 172 days to be able to go to free agency.
Okay.
So now, literally, he's going to be 1 day short if they leave him off the roster. If he's 1 day short, that means he can't go to free agency. That means he does not get a new contract.
Doesn't get paid.
He doesn't get paid because he's one of the best arms in baseball right now.
I agree.
So he's toast for a new contract.
Right.
So best of luck there. And then now Plesac, he's a young kid, but if they leave him off for the rest of the season as well, that will push his arbitration back to 2022.
Yeah.
So now instead of getting your arbitration agreement next year and getting more money, again, you've screwed yourself out of possibly millions of dollars, or at least hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You're
pushed out
missing
now.
paychecks.
Exactly. And so now I think the Indians are probably either going to trade Clevenger, especially considering he is getting closer and closer to free agency. Even if he doesn't hit that mark, I think he's going to be a big deadline target now.
Well, speaking of the pandemic, how about the St. Louis Cardinals finally playing some baseball games again? Apparently, they're going to try to play 53 games in 44 days with 11 doubleheaders. So obviously, they're trying to make up for all that time lost. I think didn't play for a couple weeks, I think it was.
Yeah.
But good news is Cardinals are finally playing games now. They're not having any more positive tests, which is a good thing. Definitely interesting. 11 doubleheaders. Does this affect the Cardinals going in the long run for the rest of the season?
Oh, absolutely. That is a asinine amount of games to try to fit in, was it 43 days? Is that what you said?
44 days.
44 days.
Yes.
That is just so ridiculous to try to do. All their players are going to be gassed. I don't know. It's going to be interesting for the Cardinals to see how they push through it. They're going to hit their season fatigue probably earlier than most other teams. And, if they do make the playoffs, I think it could definitely play a role in the playoffs. I don't like it for the Cardinals, but I can't say anything but it's their own fault.
Yeah, I think you could look at this for two different ways for the St. Louis Cardinals. I think with this 2 weeks off or whatever they had, it could end up benefiting them, honestly, just with that rest for those pitchers, of course, and even the position players. But I could also see a situation where the Cardinals end up getting kind of gassed out near the end of the season. I mean, 53 games in 44 days. Yeah, like I said, 11 doubleheaders. That's a lot of baseball to be played, especially with those pitchers. I mean, you got to be able to take care of those arms on your team, and that's just going to be a lot of effort for those pitchers going out there 2 games every day.
I totally agree, and I think you could almost start to see the Cardinals do a 6 or 7 man rotation, cramming all of those games into 44 days. That's just going to be kind of madness on those pitching arms. I don't love it for them. But hey, a big shout out to Kendall Graveman, pitcher. He's been pitching with a benign tumor on his spine.
Yes, it's a benign bone tumor, but it isn't anything serious is what Kendall Graveman is telling people, but he's still planning to pitch. So shout out to Kendall Graveman. Luckily, it's not anything too serious is what it sounds like over there. Pretty encouraging news. On to some NFL news here, and I think we have to start with our Idiot of the Week. I don't even know how to put this into words because this is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. I mean, it's honestly very creative what this young man did.
This is some Lou Williams stuff.
Yes, it is some Lou Williams stuff. So about a week ago, Seahawks cornerback Kama Sivrand, who is an undrafted rookie this year, let's just say he was hanging out at the hotel having a good time, and he was feeling a little lonely. So he decided to invite a little friend over to the team hotel. But unfortunately, that friend was not who you think it was, at least at first. So get this. Sivrand was caught sneaking a female into the hotel, but it wasn't just any female. The female was disguised as an NFL football player. So this raises some questions for me personally. What in the world is Kama Sivrand doing sneaking what he wants people to think a football player who is actually a female to the hotel room? What is he trying to do here? Unfortunately for this young man, he was cut. So he was caught on the hotel security camera there. He was caught, so the Seahawks decided to part ways with him, just with everything going on. And also, he was an undrafted rookie, so he didn't have much leeway there. But very interesting news if you're the Seattle Seahawks. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head. It was a dumb decision. He's our Idiot of the Week for a reason. Going over to what Mike Vrabel said about it, kind of funny.
Yes.
He mentioned something, this is not a direct quote, but he said something, I hope at least she wasn't the size of an NFL football player. Kind of funny. I know he's catching a little bit of flack for that, but it's still a funny comment in my opinion.
Mike Vrabel, he's just going to speak his mind. That's what he did here. And how about this, Tom Pelissero on Twitter getting in on the action saying, the woman was wearing #Seahawks gear in an attempt to disguise her as a player, I'm told. It did not work. There's very unfortunate news coming out of the Seattle Seahawks camp there. I mean, you feel for Kama Sivrand.
I don't feel for him at all. He's already an undrafted free agent, and he's just making a moron of himself. Of course you're going to get caught. Dude, you can't wait just a little while? I mean, come on.
Yeah, he probably wasn't expecting to get cut from this, but definitely an interesting headline in the NFL.
Let's just say it's safe to say that he learned his lesson. Moving on, Dez Bryant has a scheduled workout with the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow. Old man Dez Bryant.
Yep. Gotta love it. This is what, his third or fourth workout with teams, and it hasn't worked out yet?
Yeah, I think he's like 47 years old now, something like that.
47, 51, somewhere around that age.
Right. He's getting up there in age. But he did have that workout with the Ravens.
I hope they sign him. I really do. I think that would be fun to watch. You know, they really need help down there, or up there, I guess, in Baltimore.
Yeah, and I know Des Bryant, he's kind of been working out for a numerous amount of teams over the last few years, just trying to get on a roster, trying to get his way back into the league. So it should be interesting. Of course, the Ravens are one of the better teams in the NFL, so I think it would be a good fit just because of the talent they have surrounded out there in Baltimore. But interesting news there, Des Bryant.
Do you think this, if they do sign him, shuts the door on AB?
I think so, yeah. Because if you're going to sign Des Bryant and Antonio Brown, I think you need a mental check up there in Baltimore.
Now, that is when I wish we could watch Hard Knocks in Baltimore.
Yes.
Dude,
yeah.
That would be hilarious.
It would just turn into a reality TV show at that point if you were going to do that. And, wow, a lot of divas on that offense. That would be crazy.
Absolutely. On the brighter side, Alex Smith finally cleared for football workouts.
Yes.
He's back. Good for him. He's 38 now, I think, right?
Yeah.
He's 38, trying to make another comeback after one of the most horrific leg injuries the league has ever
Worse than
really
Joe
seen.
Theismann's leg injury.
Yeah, pretty brutal. Like, his life was actually in jeopardy when he injured his leg. So, good for him. Shout out Alex Smith. In other NFL news, NFL teams are starting to announce their current plans for housing fans inside of stadiums. The governor of Texas came out and said that they are allowed to bring in fans as of right now. So the Dallas Cowboys came out and said they're going to host up to 50% of capacity at their stadium.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, and they're going to bring in, I guess they're going to do it a certain way. They're going to do pods of people, I guess somewhere from 5 to 15 people per pod. I'm not exactly sure what a pod means.
Yeah.
I would assume it means
just a section, maybe.
A section and sit kind of spread out. So yeah, they said they were going to do pods of 10 to 15 people, hoping to get their stadium up to 50%. The Falcons said that they were going to allow 10 to 20,000 fans in. The Patriots said they were going to leave it up to the state and see what they were going to allow, but if they were to fully allow fans, the Patriots would only bring in 20% capacity, and the Chiefs set a number at 16,000 fans. And lastly, the Packers have actually said they're not allowing any fans for the first 2 games of the season, and they're just going to kind of reevaluate the rest of the season. So that's kind of something to watch for in the NFL.
I think this is positive news for the most part. I mean, I think it's on our way to kind of getting a little more normalcy back in our lives. But as long as they can do this in a safe way, without putting their fans and players at risk, I think it's a win-win for both the NFL and its fans. Well, E, we got a busy week of sports coming up. What are some games that kind of stand out for you?
I think watching the rest of the Stars and the Flames series is going to be huge for hockey. You got to watch out for the Blues, too, see if the defending champs are going to go down. I don't know. We got some interesting hockey games. How about you?
I got to go to the NBA, Portland and Los Angeles. That series is just really intriguing, I think. I think a lot of people kind of look at the Blazers as a team who might have a shot in that series. Who knows? A lot of star power in that series. Should be an interesting one to watch. I think that's going to be a wrap, E. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Absolutely. Check out our website, showcasesportsmedia.com. Check out our Instagram at showcasesportsmedia. And lastly, if you guys enjoy our podcast, subscribe, give us a good review. That'd really help us out. Thanks to all our listeners out there, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers from Showcase Sports Media. We'll see you next week.